recovery doesn't start tomorrow. Recovery starts right now. Here to help, it's Rated R for Recovery.
But I like all the others.
Well, I got down on my knees and said, hey, I just can't go on living this way. Guess I have to learn to live my life one day at a time. Oh, yeah. One day at a time.
We are Rated R for Recovery, broadcasting live from Studio 7 in Cape Coral, Florida, right here in beautiful Southwest Florida. We'd like to say good evening. We do this in front of a live studio audience every week, so to prove that I'm not fibbing, would you all say hello to the audience on the world? Our studio audience, can you make some noise, please, and let people...
Oh, that's the best part.
We are Rated R for Recovery. I am an alcoholic that doesn't drink. I am a drug addict that doesn't use. And I am a dead man that walks amongst the living. And this is by no righteous deed of my own. And my name is Fletch.
Hey, Fletch. I'm just a garden variety drunk. My name is Joy Thomas.
Hello, Joy Thomas.
Hey.
Welcome to another yet fantastic episode of Rated R for Recovery. You can hear us on YouTube, iTunes, like us on the Facebook, hear us on the Facebook. And thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island. And
I
in
want to
Bene-
go there.
You've been there.
I know I want to go again.
Okay. Do you remember who you saw?
Yes, I do.
Who?
Louis Anderson.
That's right. Okay, and thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island. You can hear us on podcastcafelive.com. There's a number of different shows that were on a popular radio station here, such as The Ledge, which is a right-wing talk show, and then my friends Jeff Zito and Bob Garrett. Zito and Garrett can be heard at podcastcafelive.com as well. So what we do here is we talk about all things recovery-related.
Sounds good to me.
We talk about the addict and the alcoholic, or talk at them, or talk to them.
Talking to them is
Yeah,
better.
better. That's much better. The families of the addict and the alcoholic.
Yeah, we like to deal with families and how they're involved.
The defense attorneys that represent them.
Oh,
Right. We talk to the police departments that bust them, or bust us, I should say.
and
'cause
sometimes that's a good thing.
it is. It is. And today is no different.
That's right.
Our first guest is probably a miracle, and his name is James. Say hello to James, everybody.
Hey, James.
James, say hello to the world.
Hello, world.
See, there's James. Okay. James, your mode of transportation is what?
Skateboard, typically.
Why is that?
I was born with a birth defect, which they think it's called phocomelia, and they think it was caused by second-generation thalidomide poisoning, but they don't really know. I have defects of the limbs. I'm missing my forearms and my hands, and I don't have a left leg at all.
And how old are you?
27.
27. How is... You're an inspiration to everybody. You know that, don't you?
I hope so.
When I think I'm having a bad day, you know, I might not be having a bad day. Maybe I need to be grateful for what's around me, even though sometimes I'm not seeing it. How
You and me
did you?
both.
How did this? Can you walk us through your from the earliest time you can remember, and how your emotional and now your spiritual life has been because of the way you've been afflicted because of this birth defect?
I went through a lot of different periods. When I was very young, kids were mostly just confused. Some were actually very frightened of me. But there were still always people who reached out to me. And, you know, I was an Easter Seals baby. They take care of, you know, kids with needs. And the Miami Herald, I'm from Miami, Florida. And they donated a computer, a laptop to me, and a few other things. And I was in the paper a couple of times. And then, like, later in elementary school, I got picked on a little bit. But I really didn't. I don't know. I didn't see myself the way that they saw me. So I stood up for myself and hurt a few people's feelings. And they stopped picking on me for the most part. Middle of elementary school, maybe late elementary school. then throughout middle school and high school, I just had tons of friends and people I thought were my friends, and everybody knew me, whether they were my friend or not my friend. Everybody knew who I was. They didn't allow skateboards in school, so I was in a manual wheelchair until I was like 13 years old, and somebody donated my first electric wheelchair to me, and I don't know. Then high school, and I had an aide, like somebody who walked around with me and helped me put books in my backpack, and I never really needed an aide, but it was like a requirement of the school. So that kind of hindered my social life as well, you know, having a teacher basically follow me around all day. And but it kept me going to class and kept me out of trouble. And
So how'd your getting drunk and getting high, how did that come in, and why did it begin?
Well, my mom says the first time I had ever had alcohol, I was 3 years old, and I was crawling from one table at a wedding reception to the other table, taking sips of people's drinks and putting it down. And
Really?
by the end of the wedding, I wasn't able to sit up any longer.
And you were 3?
I was apparently 3 years old. I don't recall this event.
This birth defect you had, of course, it's a birth defect, so you've had it since birth. So it's all you've ever known. So it's not something that's abnormal to you. You get along fine?
Yeah.
For the most part?
Yeah, for the most part.
You can't dunk a basketball, but that's understandable. And
Neither can you.
No, and I was just about to say that. Neither can I. Absolutely. So now, and you had a mom and a dad at home with you?
Mom and dad separated when I was 3 or 4 years old. Dad was abusive and a very heavy alcoholic, and they're both of their drug of choice. It started at cocaine, and they ended up, you know, running that road all the way to crack and further. So,
And so when did your road begin? When did you take your first drink, or well, not when you were 3, you know, but the first time you remember?
The first time I had actually gotten drunk, I was probably 11
Oh, me too.
or 12 years old.
Me too.
I had thought that I had gotten drunk before, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
And it didn't really get serious or become a natural habit or anything like that. It was, you know, once in a while once a year at a party or something, it would pop up. But I never understood people who said that they, you know, just drink to drink, or they drink to enjoy drinking, or, you know, I always thought that the point of it was to get drunk, and that was always my goal. That was always my experience. I've tried many, many, many times to drink moderately, and I've been successful almost all of those times.
Unsuccessful?
Unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful, yeah.
Unsuccessful, sorry.
You stumped Joy there for a second.
Yeah, I don't even know. I lost
Okay.
train of thought there, I guess.
When did this become a problem in your life?
Well, I had started hanging out with the smokers in high school, and I used to collect Zippos, and I was playing with my Zippo, and somebody came up to me and asked me if I had smoked cigarettes, and for whatever reason, I told him yes. So he offered me a cigarette, and I started smoking with him, and I started hanging out with a few people, and I just stopped going to class.
When you say the smokers, you talking about cigarette smokers?
Cigarette
or, okay,
smokers,
go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, all kinds of smokers, but yeah, it was just cigarettes at that point.
Right.
And to impress this girl, I can't even remember her name, but somehow in conversation it came up that her favorite drink was vodka. So I went and had my mom purchase a half pint of vodka
For you.
for me to give to this girl.
Right. We all did.
And I was completely honest about the situation with my mom. My mom and I always had that kind of relationship. She came to me and said, you know, if you ever plan on doing anything, come to me first. That way I can at least make sure you're safe or whatever. And, so we always had a very open relationship. And so she purchased
Bought you
this
some
thing for
booze.
me. And, yeah, she purchased the vodka for me. And I went to... went to school that day with a cooler full of water bottles, but the vodka was still in the vodka bottle. So, I mean, it wasn't like some kind of... But I, in a wheelchair, no security had no reason to ever stop me for anything.
Yeah.
Just another handicapped guy, and must be doing the right thing or whatever.
So,
And,
but when did alcohol go to drugs, and when did this start to affect a downward
Well,
pattern?
that's-
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's how I got pulled out of high school. I went in that day to bring her that vodka, and she didn't show up that day. So I broke it out in front of my smoker friends outside, and everybody said they wanted to drink, and it ended up just being me and this one guy drinking the whole bottle. Mostly me drinking the whole bottle, 7:00 in the morning, and an empty stomach, and I was smashed. And school bell rang, and it hit me like instantly, and you had to have a key to get in the elevator. I had to have a security guard take me up there and then take me back down because I was puking everywhere, and it was terrible. So my mom showed up that day, and she basically pulled me out of school the next day. She said, "You're getting your GED. You're going to college. I'm tired of this." And so I started drinking. I started drinking every night. I started drinking every day. I was spinning and throwing up for the next probably year and a half of my life.
Huh.
So that was pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't really remember a lot of it. I moved in with my dad and straightened up for a couple of years because he wasn't going to tolerate any of that.
So he was sober at that time.
Yeah, he'd been sober for 20-something years. He got sober the day the cops kicked the crap out of him and threw him in jail for beating up my mom
Wow.
in a cocaine psychosis.
So then you seem to have had periods of drinking and then of straightening up, as you said.
Kinda, yeah. I was drinking real heavy, and then I switched to smoking pot and did that for a little while. And then, like I said, when I moved in with my dad, I had to completely stop everything.
How old were you then?
17,
Okay.
I think. So, like I said, it was a year and a half that I was out of it completely. When I was 19, I moved out and moved up here to Cape Coral and moved in with my mom. Things were okay for a little while. We lost the house. I ended up getting my own place with my sister, and I got a job, and now I was going to try drinking again. I don't even remember how it started, but I drank to the point of misery all the time, and I would wake up and go to work, and everything would be fine. I didn't drink at work until
What'd you do
I
for
started
work?
drinking at work.
Pardon me for interrupting. What kind of job did you have then?
Computer programmer.
Oh.
I've been a computer nerd my whole life.
Sweet.
I did leave that part out.
And so where are we at right now?
I am 27, so that was I lost my job about 2 years ago or so,
Okay.
and
Sobered up again then?
no,
Okay.
I was I don't even remember the last time I was like truly sober for a long period of time.
And do you believe that this is a progressive disease? Do you believe in the disease aspect of it?
Yeah, but it's also a spiritual thing, and it's not.
There's a huge spiritual component.
It's not completely physical or.
No, but the disease, she just said the word disease. Disease is the problem. The cure is the spiritual part of it. That's the medicine we take
Correct.
to start to get better. And then some of us go to AA, CA, or NA.
Yeah.
Some of us go to
Been there.
Celebrate Recovery. But at some point, I've got to say that I'm done with this. I don't want any more. So you haven't maintained any long-term sobriety?
I had about 5 months. Almost, actually, it was the day or two before my 6-month whatever. I was doing AA. I went to the Yana Club. I met a lot of wonderful people there, and I don't know what happened, but I got tired of the meetings, and I couldn't go to the meetings anymore. And
You couldn't go, or you
What?
didn't want to? I'm done with that.
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was done with it. I picked apart the program and didn't
Sure.
like the program anymore and didn't like the people in the program, and I just
Yeah. Okay. Now you called me today.
I did.
You want to talk about that?
If you like,
I'd like to. What did you tell me?
I told you that I slipped. I relapsed last night,
Okay.
and I don't even know how it started, but I know that I immediately regretted it, and that's something that didn't used to happen too often. I could run on benders for weeks, months before waking up and figuring out that was not what I was supposed to do. But this morning I was crushed.
You understand that while it's not a requirement, it happens to a lot of us, and that it doesn't make you any better or any worse because that happened, and that you are loved just for who you are right now at this moment, at this time, and that if you want help, there's going to be there's just an amazing amount of people that will come to your aid and help you. What we won't do is enable you,
Right.
And because that's only counterproductive. You go ahead.
This is very cliche, but it's not how many times you fall down; it's how many times you get back up. And although that can seem very tiring, falling down and getting back up, falling down and getting back up, if you simply get up one more time than you've fallen down, that's the beginning of a new life.
Right. I woke up feeling hopeless and crushed, and that I was tired and I couldn't understand why this keeps happening no matter what I do.
Sure.
Or how I try to avoid it, or no matter where I go, there I am.
And did you pray?
And I prayed with a couple of people, and they were answered. And now I don't feel that way anymore.
You see, while
Wow.
you're absolutely right about the spiritual part of it, the problem that I've learned is centered in my brain. My brain tells me I don't need the people at Yana, that I overreacted. Perhaps I overreacted. This time I can maintain the sobriety by myself. I don't need your help. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I thank
I
you.
got it
Really,
now.
from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, but I don't really think I need to do everything you tell me to do. I can do some of it, but I don't think I need to do all of
Nope.
it.
And every time I think, oh, I've got it, I've got this, then I'm in trouble.
And then when I do slip or fall down, however you want to say, then the shame and the guilt kicks in. And that's my mind, too, telling me I'm not good enough.
And
that
those people don't want to know, and they don't want to hear it, and they are going to think this, or that, or say this or that,
Yeah.
which many
absolutely.
times isn't the case.
And it hasn't been the case with this. I told you that it was absolutely, you said, you don't want me to do, you asked me if I still wanted you to come on the show. And what did I tell you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely wanted you to be here.
Yeah.
We will, if there's anything that we can do to help when we go to a commercial break, which we're going to do in a few minutes, by all means. You have wonderful support system. The people here at the Studio Cafe, where we broadcast from, think the world of you.
Yeah.
Is your life good today? You have a place to
It's great.
live?
Yeah.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, things are going really well, and that's another part of their perplexing
Right.
situation.
And if it had anything to do with any of that,
Right.
then there would be something would make sense, and it's
Right.
just not about making sense.
Right.
Wow.
I learned all the things that I need to do in the situation in order to stay sober.
No, you
and
didn't.
I didn't.
No,
do
you
it.
didn't. No, you didn't.
I
Or
didn't
you would
do
have
it.
done them.
Right.
See, that's it. Okay.
But
I'm
I,
not
did,
trying
I
to
didn't
be.
do them.
I'm not trying to beat you up.
No, I know.
I'm just trying to say that I needed this type of thing. Her husband told me when I relapsed after shy of 3 years, I called him. He was the first person I called. And I told him what had happened. And he said to me, I would like to tell you everything's going to be okay, but it won't be. And he was right. He was absolutely right. And it's, go ahead.
So, and the question that I had for you is, so what are you going to do different today?
Just really, put my trust in God and reach out to the people who love me and care about me and know they want to, know that they want to help me to do better and just keep moving.
Sounds
right.
good.
Let's have a nice round of applause for James. He's a miracle sitting in front of us. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery, broadcasting live from Studio 7 Cafe and Coffee Company. We're heard all over the world. We're broadcasting from Cape Coral, Florida, in beautiful Lee County, Florida. We can be heard on YouTube, iTunes, on Facebook. Like us on the Facebook and share us with your friends. And thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island, you can hear us on podcastcafelive.com. And we'll be right back.
That's going to leave a mark. But not if you bring your vehicle to D-Hab, your automotive rehab. Your one-stop shop for all auto body work and paint. No job too big or small. With over 25 years experience, D-Hab can make your vehicle look like the accident never happened. D-Hab, your automotive rehab, is located at 2534 Highland Street, 1 block off Edison Avenue in Fort Myers. So if you have a scratch, ding, dent, or bent, call D-Hab, your automotive rehab at 332-1813.
Have you been considering a kitchen renovation or bathroom remodeling? There's no one better to call than the professionals at Honey's Construction. Value, beauty, and functionality. Get the right design for your kitchen or bathroom and add significant value to your home. Call Honey's Construction today at 229-4934 for a free in-home consultation. Honey's Construction's purpose and mission is to fulfill dreams and to be grateful for the many blessings we enjoy each and every day. 229-4934. Get the taste of home while eating out. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering. Open daily for breakfast and lunch and located at 2400 First Street in downtown Fort Myers. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering specializes in homemade soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. And Gwendolyn's has been rated 5 stars by Urban Spoon and Yelp. Get the taste of home while dining out. Or let us bring the taste of home to your home with our free delivery. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering, 2400 First Street, downtown Fort Myers.
Every Friday night at 6:45 p.m., experience Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church at 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral. The purpose of Celebrate Recovery is to encourage fellowship and to celebrate God's healing power in our lives as we work our way along the road to recovery. By working through the 12 steps and 8 principles of Celebrate Recovery, we grow spiritually and we are freed from our hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery every Friday night at 6:45 p.m. at Grace Church, 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Bust a gut laughing at Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. For tickets, call 239-389-6900. That's 389-6900. Or visit OffTheHookComedy.com. Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. Enjoy the best raw bar in Southwest Florida and a menu of delicious entrees like juicy prime rib and the best seafood, period. Located at 599 South Collier Boulevard, Suite 218 on Marco Island, across from the Hilton Hotel. Visit OffTheHookComedy.com.
J&J Appliance Repair, Inc. is a Christ-centered company of 3 years. We operate our company using God's golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. That is honestly, dependably, and as quickly as possible at a fair price. That's just what we do. With 30-plus years experience, we keep updated through continuing education. We repair all makes and models, as well as install dishwashers and hot water tanks. There's vent cleaning, which includes the dryer. We're family-owned and operated, insured, licensed, and service Lee County. Call 239-440-4452.
Feeling alone? Feeling lost? Feeling helpless? We're here to help.
You're taking part in a live broadcast of Rated R for Recovery here at Studio 7 Cafe and Coffee Company in Cape Coral, Florida. Once again, heard all over the world via the World Wide Web. They don't call it that anymore, do they?
No.
They just call it the internet, huh?
That's what I call it.
Okay, well, most people do. It started out as the World Wide Web, though, didn't it?
I don't know. It wasn't worldwide then.
Wasn't?
When it started out.
Sure?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
It is what it stands for, but at the beginning,
The
there's no way it could have
www.
been all around the world
All right. Okay.
to begin with.
All right. Anyway, you can hear us on YouTube. You can hear us on iTunes Network. You can like us and share us and hear us on Facebook. which we'd encourage everybody to do if you haven't already done that. We'd appreciate it. And once again, thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club in Marco Island or on Marco Island and in Bonita Springs, podcastcafelive.com. We have another guest here, and his name is John.
Hey, John.
Hey.
John, tell us about what you do for a living now.
At this time, I'm actually down here during the week umpiring an NCAA baseball tournament.
Okay. So you're an umpire.
I'm an umpire.
Okay. You're the guy everybody yells at? And
Him.
Yeah. All right. Now, you had another occupation years ago.
I did.
What was that?
I was a deputy sheriff in the great state of Washington.
And in that in Spokane area, Seattle, where were you?
About an hour away from Spokane on the eastern border, the southeastern border of Washington State, about 3.5 hours from Seattle.
There's a very famous sheriff up there, isn't there? Somewhere up there, isn't there? That he's the guy that started all the cops shows, wasn't he?
I think that was Portland.
Oh, is that with Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, we don't talk about Oregon a lot.
No, we don't.
From Washington.
In fact, we won't if you don't want to.
No, you're
'cause
okay.
We're in Florida anyway. Okay.
Well, so then you were a fine, upstanding citizen who did everything correctly all your life?
Ex-military?
That is a loaded question.
No, but
and I'd say, no, I'm not ex-military, but I was a fine, upstanding citizen, but I did not do everything correctly.
What didn't you do?
But you couldn't have told me that when I was a deputy sheriff.
Right.
Because I thought I was doing everything correctly.
Oh, so did I.
You weren't a deputy sheriff, were you?
Oh, no, but I thought I did everything correctly.
Very good.
Always.
So tell us a little bit about this road that you've been on. What happened when you were a deputy sheriff? You made some bad choices?
I made some bad choices. I became a deputy sheriff at the young, ripe age of about 26 years old. And what I call it is I started building my Tower of Babel in my life. And I had built, and when you're a deputy sheriff or a police officer, you're at street level, you're the most powerful person.
On the street.
You could take people's freedom from them. So it's pretty powerful. With that comes arrogancy. With that comes a sense of, I got all the right answers. You can't tell me how to live or what to do. With that comes a lot of alcoholism, drug usage, and things that nobody really talks about, but I lived right in the middle of it, so I saw it.
Well, yeah, those things do, but the majority of sheriffs don't become alcoholics. I mean, I'm sure there's a percentage that have alcohol and drug-related problems, but...
Well, I was in that percentage.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Every
that.
profession.
How did that get started?
What happened was I had destroyed a marriage, and I had destroyed that marriage through my infidelity. I was married to a good girl, I had 2 children, and because I was a deputy sheriff, certain avenues open up to you that don't open up to everybody, but sometimes they do, but they
Like
did
what?
to me. Like, you don't have to be a good-looking guy when you got a badge on.
Okay.
And that's the truth of the matter.
I
It's
want
the
to know
power
what you're
struggle.
talking about.
It's the power thing that you
Kind
have.
of like a
and people
man
are
in uniform.
Yeah, it's a man. You got power.
Okay.
And a lot of females are attracted to that power, unfortunately. Now, the morals don't always go with that power.
Right.
There's a double set of standards there.
Now, this
And
has
that's what
nothing to
happened.
do with drugs or alcohol. This
It'll
has
get
something
there.
to do... Yeah, I know it will get there. But this has something to do with, the like you said, I think you touched on it right when you started. It has more to do with that, look who I am now.
That's right.
And a spiritual malady again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my career went on, and about 13, 14 years into the career, I started dating a young lady, and I had been in and out of a lot of relationships that always ended abruptly and always ended in a bad way, and it was always the other person's fault. Of course. And so that's how that kind of went. Well, I got with a young lady who I started dating, and about 2 years into the relationship, I found out she had a drug addiction. And as a police officer, you
Hold
you
on.
think you
About
know.
how long into the relationship?
2 years into it.
So she's getting high all this time, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't know it?
Didn't know it.
And you're a cop.
And I'm a cop. So
She
the
must
next
have been
time
really
you
good.
the next time you meet somebody and they say cops know everything,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
Yeah, okay. So
That's right.
all
I never made detective.
What was her drug of choice?
Her drug of choice at that time was meth.
Okay. What happened?
Well, what had happened was after I had found out, of course, at that point, I'm the fix-it guy. Because I'm a police officer, I can fix anybody.
Sure.
I got the answer, so I was going to fix her. But what I come to find out is you don't fix nobody till they decide to be fixed.
Yep.
And then you can't really fix them anyways. They have to fix themselves.
Amen.
And it always takes the power of God to set them free.
Amen.
That's right.
So what I did, I thought I could fix her. So that's what I stayed in the relationship. So for 2 more years, I attempted to fix her. During that time, the relationship fell completely apart. And at this point, the whole game had been changed on me because now I was the one that she was dumping on and that she was getting rid of, and that just didn't happen to me. I got rid of you. Well, now she was getting rid of me, so I began to chase her, is what I did. And through chasing her to try to win her back on a November 31st, I remember the night, she said, try this meth with me just one time, you'll love it. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. She goes, just once, and then you never have to do it again. Boy, was that a lie. And I tried it. And from there, my life began to spiral just totally out of control.
In other words, you loved it.
Oh, I loved it.
You didn't just like it.
Couldn't think of nothing else. Didn't think there was anything else. It lied to me every day and told me I couldn't live without it.
Right. Good Lord.
And there went the addiction, and there where it began. Now, you're talking to a guy who drank 2 beers in high school, tried marijuana once and didn't like it. Played sports, had no drug history at all, didn't even drink alcohol.
I thought you told me you were a drinker then. When you that's when
Well,
the
no,
alcohol.
it wasn't me. Other guys drink. I wasn't
Oh, I
never
see.
a drinker.
You're okay. Go ahead. All right.
And so that's the kind of person that's the kind of life, that's the kind of arrogance I had on myself. I thought I was better than other people. I didn't do these things.
So you don't drink, you don't smoke weed, and you think the first drug I'll try is crystal meth.
Yeah, good move, huh?
Good choice. Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, I never looked at it like that, but yeah, you're right.
So, all right, what happened?
Well, from there, the addiction, of course, grabbed onto me with both hands, both feet, and wrapped around my throat. And I took off with it. And so what had started with a fun thing on the weekends now became a daily habit that I had to have.
Yeah,
That
go
quick?
ahead.
How quick?
Yeah, it wasn't.
How quick?
Immediately almost.
Wow.
Almost immediately.
So it just grabbed you by the throat.
Grabbed me right by the throat. So when someone tells you that lie that, well, you can do this once, no, you can't. That's a lie right out of hell. And that's never been the case with hardly any of the people that jump into those type of narcotics. Well, from there, as a deputy sheriff, of course, things spiraled out of control and people seen the change in me, but I didn't see the change in me
Right.
because I had them all deceived. You know,
Right.
only I knew, but
Nobody
yet everyone
knows.
did. Exactly.
Were you taking, like, if you busted somebody, were you taking their stash?
Never did that. Never did that, but
That's what I
the
would've
young
done.
lady, the young lady that I was living with at that time was my supplier,
The girlfriend.
the girlfriend.
She manufactured it at your house?
She did. No, never manufactured it, just purchased it for me.
Okay.
That was my supplier.
How much were you going through a week?
I started off at about 150 a week. When I was done, I was probably up to about 5 to 750 a week.
Wow. Good.
Lost my job,
How'd you lose your job?
well, I lost my job because of the paranoia that the drug brought.
Right.
And what I had done was, I believed she was running around on me, cheating on me, and that kind of stuff. So I started chasing her. I'd be on duty, and I had an area to work where I wouldn't be in my area.
Yeah.
I'd actually be in another city in my patrol car checking on her, seeing what she was doing, who she was with, where she was at.
Yeah.
That's what the drug had done to me. I was never much of a jealous guy, but I had become so caught up in this relationship and caught up in this drug that the paranoia just consumed me. So at that point, my sheriff, who was a very good man, is still a very good man, said, John, I'm going to let you resign before I fire you.
Yeah.
Because you need help, go get help, and then maybe someday you can get back into law enforcement. So that's what I did. I resigned from the sheriff's department. Now, at this time, I was pretty hard into it, and about 6 months to 7 months later, we had split up, me and this young lady, yet she was still my supplier. I had lost my job. I didn't have a job, so I turned to doing whatever I could do, just like the things I said I would never do. I couldn't walk out of Walmart with a nickel over what I had paid for without running back in for fear that I would owe somebody a nickel. That was
Yeah.
just the way I was.
I know.
But now I was loading my pockets up and stealing things from Walmart with no conscience about it at all,
Yeah.
and felt that I deserved it. Walked into an apartment complex where an empty apartment was, and hauled out a refrigerator and hauled out a couple washers and dryers, put them on the back of my truck, and drove away.
Scrapped them and bought
Absolutely,
dope. Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course,
These are the
that's what we
things
do.
that I had. Oh, that's what I did.
That's what I did too.
And justified it somehow in my mind. So these were the type of things going on. Well, I got to the point where I lost my home. The people that loved me so dearly wanted nothing to do with me, couldn't trust me in their house, and I was living in a Jeep with a bad starter in the Walmart parking lot that I had gotten off a guy for $500 that I never paid him. but I was going to pay him. That's
Sure,
what I
of
told.
course
At least
you were.
that's what I told
Yeah,
him.
I understand that too.
I would get up in the mornings and I'd park the Jeep up on a hill in this parking lot in Walmart and run it down,
Get it running.
hoping it would start.
Yep.
And when it wouldn't start, well, I'd push it back up the hill.
Oh,
Yeah,
did that happen a lot?
that happened a lot.
Okay. Did you ever get caught stealing anything?
Never got caught stealing, but about 8 months after I had lost my job, I went over to her apartment because I was about to purchase some, and they kicked the door in
While you were there?
while I was there.
Nice.
And when they kicked the door in, they had 7 controlled buys on her where she had sold to undercover officers. And so what happened was they kicked the door and I was there, and they didn't really have anything on me, and they cuffed me. And I'll never forget, they laid me on the floor, and one of the cops, and I knew the voices of all of them. I knew them all. I'd worked with them for many, many years. He placed a gun right to the side of my neck, and he said, "Do me a favor and move so I can blow your brains out. This would be
Wow.
a good day for law enforcement to see you dead."
Oh.
Now, the hatred in my heart for him just boiled at that time, but today, I'm so thankful he did that. Because if he wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have looked up to Jesus Christ to find him.
So this is the portion of the show that is what we talk about. How did you get clean and sober?
Well, let me add one
Unless
more
you're,
thing.
no, keep going.
Let
If
me
that
add
wasn't
one
your
more thing.
bottom, absolutely keep going.
They found
And
a
what
little
was-
bag of dope
Yeah?
in a bag,
Yeah.
and I had because I had a private investigation business that really I wasn't working, I had IDs. One of those IDs was in that bag, so I got a charge, and I was arrested. I was taken to the jail that I had booked hundreds of people into. The girl that booked me in at that day broke down and cried and couldn't
Wow.
book me in.
How much did you weigh when you did it?
147,
And what do you weigh now?
195. You would ask that.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Okay. So, okay, go ahead.
So she booked me in, and they wouldn't keep me in the that jail for fear that someone would realize I was a police officer and that they might kill me,
Yeah.
literally kill me in there.
Absolutely.
So they booked me into another jail, another neighboring county, and in that county, which I won't name, they put me in a cell, a 4x6 cell with just a mat on the floor. Now, they would bring my food to me, and this may sound horrendous to you, but let me tell you, I'm thankful for it again. This is another thing I'm thankful for. They would open the little shutter thing,
Yeah.
and they would throw the food on the floor without plates.
What?
And-
What do you mean?
Well,
So-
and this is what they would say. Well, you're a real pig. You're not just a pig, you're a real pig. You get to eat like a pig. And so that was the kind of things that they were disgusted with what I had become being in law enforcement.
Oh,
and even
so-
the law enforcement was as disgusted with me. So for 3 days I sat in that cell, and the first day I wouldn't eat the food off the floor, but the second and third day
Yeah.
I ate the food off the floor. Now the third day was when something happened. Somebody dropped the Bible inside that little cell. And I remembered. It seemed like a ray of hope in a dark, dark time. And I read some of that Bible, and I cried out to God. I didn't know what else to do. My life was tore up from the floor up, and I was beat up from the street up. I didn't want this life no more. I couldn't believe I had dropped to this level. I was in a cell where I had put people,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being in that cell just wanting to die. And I remember just sitting there and crying out to God. And he met me there. And I felt a peace come over me, and I knew something had happened, but I couldn't tell you what. Wasn't smart enough to know, because I was one of those guys. I went to church in my life on Sunday, but I sure didn't live no Christian life. I just did it because it was the right thing to do. And so from there, I did my time that they had me. I got bailed out. I left.
Who bailed you out?
Actually, a farmer out in the county who I had helped his children so many times when I was in law enforcement heard that I was in jail. He had just flew in from Hawaii because he took his family every year to Hawaii, and he flew in, and someone said, "You ain't gonna believe it, man. They got Spear in jail." And he said, "Oh no, he's not gonna stay in jail." And he came down and he paid my bail, $5,000 cash. Right on
God
the
is
spot.
great.
Yeah, he is great, isn't he?
Must have been a good successful farmer, too.
Oh yeah, pretty good. Yeah, they go to Hawaii every year, but we won't get into that.
I can identify with everything you've said because basically you're telling my story right now. The drug might have been different. The county might have been different. The state might have been different. But going in, I weighed 138 pounds with no teeth. Just to give you an idea, I weigh 198 pounds now. So you got bailed out by this farmer, and what happened then?
Nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, and of course, who do you call when you got nowhere to go and nobody to talk to? You call the people that you've been hanging around.
Yeah.
Right.
And walked right back into it. I walked right back into it for about a week and a half. Well, for that week and a half, I went on a binge and had not eaten. I hadn't eaten anything.
How did you get the drugs? If you went, you come out of jail. You walk out of that building. You can go one way or the other way. You chose to go the wrong way.
Well, those good people that just, they care so much about
They
you.
give you a
They're
little
just
bit to get
helping
you
you out.
started.
Just to get you
Get
going
here's
again.
a little bit, bring you back up.
That's right.
I suggest you sell it though.
Yes.
Don't smoke it, sell it. I'm not selling it. I'm smoking it. That's the first thing I'm doing.
That's right.
And then go ahead.
That's exactly what
I'm
happened.
sure it is.
Well, from that week, of course, you you run for a week, and I hadn't slept for about 4 days, and I hadn't eaten anything. And I ran across a guy in the Walmart parking lot. That's funny, that Walmart thing. And
Walmart
Was he in your
connection.
Jeep? Sorry, that was a joke.
no,
All right,
he wasn't.
yeah,
in my
okay.
But he invited me to a place called Faith Assemblies of God in Pasco, Washington, to a thing called Celebrate Recovery. Well, I said, nah. I don't think I'm going to do that. And he said, but the food is free. You can come and eat a meal. When's the last time you ate? And I thought, free meal?
Yep.
I'll take that up.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get my Jeep started, and I turned it over and it wouldn't go, and I turned it over and it
The
wouldn't
Jeep
go.
was still there?
Oh, yeah. So
How could the Jeep still be there?
I had the Jeep. So I ran that Jeep down the hill, and I got it started. And as I drove into the parking lot at Faith Assembly, it ran out of gas, and I coasted right into the parking lot. So I'm sitting in that parking lot, and I'm thinking, man, this Celebrate Recovery thing, I'm not going to fall for this Jesus stuff these people got. It just ain't going to happen with me. They're not that smart. I was way too smart for that mess. So I walked up to the door. Yeah, of course I was. So I walked up to the door the first time, then walked back to my Jeep. Second time, back to my Jeep. Third time, back to my Jeep. Fourth time, walked up, was turning back, and a man named Ron Baker grabbed my arm and said, you need to come in here. And I said, well, I'm not going to that church thing, but I'll come in and eat the meal. And he said, okay, deal. So he set me down and we ate a meal as I was getting up. And he said, why don't you just come and sit and listen? Sit in the back corner. Nobody will mess with you. I said, okay, if you'll sit with me. I said, I ain't going there alone. So this was 8 years ago. And this thing I tell people is, I went in there for a free meal, but I left with eternal life. So when I walked in, it was a testimony night, and the guy was giving his testimony. And the funniest thing, I'm sitting in there, and the guy walks by me, and he looks down at me. He says, hey, Deputy Spear, how you doing? And I went, oh, man. Oh, man. But when they offered Jesus Christ, and they said he could set me free, I sprinted to the altar. I ran as fast as I could, and I gave my life to Christ. I came for a meal and left with eternal life. And so when I received Christ, it was the same thing as in that cell. I felt that same power. I couldn't explain it. Today I can explain it. Then I couldn't explain it, but I knew I was free, that I was going to make it. The people at Celebrate Recovery latched on to me, helped me every way they could, just spoke into my life when they could, dragged me to meetings when I wouldn't go, contacted me on a consistent basis. Before you know it, I couldn't wait for the meetings. Couldn't wait to tell people about what Christ was doing in my life. Couldn't wait. Now, I'm an advocate of any way you can get clean, you can get clean, but Celebrate Recovery is what worked for me because Jesus Christ reached into my heart and cleaned me from the inside out. That was the difference. So.
That's great.
Amen.
Now, Joy, you said earlier, there is no one way that has a monopoly on us getting clean and sober. We hear different stories of people that go to a 12-step fellowship. We had a gentleman in here that found a root in Mexico and sucked on the root and doesn't drink anymore. This gentleman, and God bless him if that works for him. But what did you say? What are the three? What's the three folds of this situation that we deal with? The mental,
Physical and spiritual.
and tell us a little bit about when one is fixed that the others straighten up.
Oh, that if we straighten up spiritually first, then the rest follows.
Amen.
And regardless of, James, our first guest, talked about that the disease. When you had mentioned the word disease, and he said, "Well, it's a spiritual thing," and he's absolutely right. And you meant the same thing. And regardless of what, all I got to do is I got to accept that there's some force out there that's greater than me, and that I'm not that force.
Yep, and I was the biggest force in my life,
And
just as long as I could be.
And John was, and I think those of us in the audience that are have gone through this type of thing, we know it all. We know what's good for us.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it now.
And we're going to make it work. I want to thank you let's know. What do you like today? What do you like today? You got a wedding ring on?
I'm a married man. I married my beautiful wife 5.5 years ago. Remember that name, Ron Baker?
Yeah.
His daughter. He is now my father-in-law.
Wow.
My wife is 10 years clean from meth addiction, delivered, set free.
Amen.
We are active in Celebrate Recovery. And I'll tell you, it's still a daily giving my will to his will, giving
Yes.
my all for his all. I have to do it daily. I have to surrender who I am to him so that I can stay clean. I work my recovery. I tackle my recovery. I attack my recovery. It took me 49 minutes. It was a 10-minute drive from my hotel to Grace Church to find Celebrate Recovery. But when I was doing dope, I would spend hours looking for it.
That's right.
So I told myself, I'm going to spend as long as it takes to get there. I'm here calling baseball. I don't have to go to a recovery meeting.
Right.
But you know what? I have to go to a recovery meeting because I'm in recovery for the rest of my life. And this disease will lie to you and tell you you're getting better. You can do it on your own. No, you can't.
Take a night off.
Find
I
some
got
place
it.
to get help. Get accountability partners.
Right.
Run to the cross if that's where you need to be.
Right.
So now, 8 years later, I'm a married man. I have a great business. I have a great life. Everything that was upside down is now right side up. God has changed it all. I'm a state rep in the state of North Carolina for Celebrate Recovery. I travel around giving my testimony, giving God the glory for what he's done in my life. But I still have to daily work my recovery because the playing field with Jesus Christ is fair. There's nobody that has extra benefits. We got to do it right, and I do the next right thing every day to stay clean.
One day at a time.
That's
That's
it.
right.
And what I do is I go after other people now in recovery because what was given to me, I need to give it back. Because every time I hand it out, I get it back 1,000 times more.
Absolutely.
So I chase people in recovery. I get told no. I get money taken from me. They do dumb things, and guess what? It's okay. Because
Yep.
if one gets clean, then I did something.
Yeah. Well, now Celebrate Recovery is how many nights in your hometown?
In our hometown, it's 2 nights a week, on a Monday night and on a Friday night.
Okay, so you got high on more than 2 nights a week,
you
right?
better believe I
So what
did.
do you do on the other nights for
On
your
the other
sobriety?
nights,
Yeah.
well, oh Lord have mercy, you would ask that. On Wednesday nights, I found a good church. On Sundays, I go to church. The other nights, I umpire a lot of baseball and I work. But we're just busy in people's lives, me and my wife, and working hard at this thing called recovery and keeping this disease at bay.
Well, good for you. Do you have a relationship with those children that you had?
I do. And God's restored all that. My children and the tentacles of addiction are so destructive. You don't realize, you think, you'll hear people say, I'm just doing, it's just me.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
it's not
I'm not
just
hurting
you.
anybody but myself.
Yeah, you're hurting so many more. And my children, I severed those relationships. I went to them and asked their forgiveness. They forgave me. My ex-wife, I went to her, asked her forgiveness. She forgave me. I made my amends. And we've done things right, and it's completely turned around now, and things are working to the good. And it's a day-by-day process. I don't worry about tomorrow, and I don't look to my past. So there are times I can look back and be disgusted, but it just ain't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a coffee company here in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. John, don't forget, you said to Grace Church, but for those who are listening around the world, we're broadcasting from Lee County, Florida. John is down here from North Carolina on a baseball, NCAA baseball tournament of some sort that you're umpiring. We're grateful to have you. You can hear Rated R for Recovery on YouTube, iTunes, Facebook. Like us on the Facebook and then share us with all your friends. Please do that. And thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island and Bonita Springs. You can hear us on podcastcafelive.com. The musical portion of the program is up next. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
That's going to leave a mark. But not if you bring your vehicle to DHAB Your Automotive Rehab. Your one-stop shop for all auto body work and paint. No job too big or small. With over 25 years experience, DHAB can make your vehicle look like the accident never happened. DHAB Your Automotive Rehab is located at 2534 Highland Street, 1 block off Edison Avenue in Fort Myers. So if you have a scratch, ding, dent, or bent, call DHAB Your Automotive Rehab at 332-1813.
Have you been considering a kitchen renovation or bathroom remodeling? There's no one better to call than the professionals at Honey's Construction. Value, beauty, and functionality. Get the right design for your kitchen or bathroom and add significant value to your home. Call Honey's Construction today at 229-4934 for a free in-home consultation. Honey's Construction's purpose and mission is to fulfill dreams and to be grateful for the many blessings we enjoy each and every day. 229-4934. Get the taste of home while eating out. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering. Open daily for breakfast and lunch and located at 2400 First Street in downtown Fort Myers. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering specializes in homemade soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. And Gwendolyn's has been rated 5 stars by Urban Spoon and Yelp. Get the taste of home while dining out. Or let us bring the taste of home to your home with our free delivery. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering, 2400 First Street, downtown Fort Myers.
Every Friday night at 6:45 p.m., experience Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church at 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral. The purpose of Celebrate Recovery is to encourage fellowship and to celebrate God's healing power in our lives as we work our way along the road to recovery. By working through the 12 steps and 8 principles of Celebrate Recovery, we grow spiritually and we are freed from our hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery every Friday night at 6:45 p.m. at Grace Church, 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Bust a gut laughing at Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. For tickets, call 239-389-6900. That's 389-6900. Or visit OffTheHookComedy.com. Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. Enjoy the best raw bar in Southwest Florida and a menu of delicious entrees like juicy prime rib and the best seafood, period. Located at 599 South Collier Boulevard, Suite 218 on Marco Island, across from the Hilton Hotel. Visit OffTheHookComedy.com.
J&J Appliance Repair, Inc. is a Christ-centered company of 3 years. We operate our company using God's golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. That is honestly, dependably, and as quickly as possible at a fair price. That's just what we do. With 30-plus years experience, we keep updated through continuing education. We repair all makes and models, as well as install dishwashers and hot water tanks. There's vent cleaning, which includes the dryer. We're family-owned and operated, insured, licensed, and serviced Lee County. Call 239-440-4452.
Feeling alone? Feeling lost? Feeling helpless? We're here to help.
You're listening to Rated R for Recovery. We're back from a commercial break. You can hear us on YouTube, iTunes, Facebook, and podcastcafelive.com, which is a thing done by Captain Brian from Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island here in Florida and in Bonita Springs here in Florida. The best in live comedy entertainment can be found at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club each and every week. Maybe we'll get free tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. Studio 7 is where we broadcast from. Studio 7 is on Del Prado Boulevard in Cape Coral, the finest in coffee and treats and cakes and they have sandwiches, and they have a weekly or a daily special for dinners and such. So get to know Studio Cafe and Coffee Company. You can like them on the Facebook and share them as well. Our next guest is a young lady that I've known for a number of years, and her name is Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Sharon's mic is not on. Whoever's in charge of that. Sharon, are you on now? No, Sharon's not on now.
Yeah, he can hear her.
Okay. Oh, that's Ray. All right. We're blessed to have 2 technical assistants here. Yeah, aren't we?
We are.
We are. Ray.
We have a
and-
support
and-
system.
Yeah.
There we go.
And Sharon is up now. Sharon and I met. Let me see. 2008, 2000. Back in 2005, maybe. I have no idea.
4.
4? Yeah. Okay. And we met at a crack house.
Yes.
And
Great.
And you. Well, isn't that special? Yeah. Okay. So, well, it was in the crack house, Satan, and I'm sure he was. So, Sharon, rather, you are afflicted with a part of your body is paralyzed.
Yes, that is correct. I had a stroke 1980. I couldn't speak, read, write, or walk. By the grace of God, I've been I'm playing the guitar again with one hand, and it's not me. Tell you that right now.
Sure.
So-
And after you had the stroke, you continued to smoke crack?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did.
Good choice. Good choice there. All right, and that's how we met. And you know what's I want to just say something. I want to talk about me for a second, because in this dope house that we lived in,
Yeah.
in a neighborhood that is just around the corner from here, that's when I cried out that I couldn't do this anymore. I didn't take it seriously. I overreacted, of course. But I went out on that front lawn one day when everybody was in the house and there was porn on the television and there was dope everywhere, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. And I walked from that house probably about 2.5 miles to a place in Pine Manor called the Good News Baptist Church, and counseled with a pastor there. And I started to think I needed some help, and then of course I figured this is not for me. I needed to go back to the dope house. But that was my very first taste of I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So, Sharon, how'd that happen for you?
I think it was 1987 is when I started smoking crack. 22 years, morning, noon, and night. I was homeless. I lived in right next door to the dog track where there was woods, and I thought that everything was a-okay, but everything was not okay. So
In the
I
woods
went.
next to the dog track, and
Yes.
everything's fine.
Yep.
You sounded like the Dana Carvey there. So you lived in the woods next to a dog track. Everything's fine.
Well,
Go
the
ahead.
woods now is no woods, but and I do have a stroke, so please bear with me. So I went to the rehabilitation center, which is SWAFIS, Southwest Florida Addiction Center, and it was like about I'd say 70 days, and then I started to I relapsed. I was smoking marijuana, and in about 2 to 3 days after that, I went straight into crack again. And I kept on doing that and doing that. I was 15 years old when I knew that I had a problem. I started going to AA, and I knew I
Long
had a
time.
problem. Yeah. And 2009, I was in jail, and I said, it's different this time. So I went into jail 3 months, and then I went into a motel, and by the grace of God, I did not pick up. And I started to go to AA every day. And then I went into SWAFIS for the 3rd time, and I've been sober ever since, which is 4 years and 3 months. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you're obviously doing something right nowadays. You're doing something different. What Joy always refers to. What are you going to do different? And you've chosen a different path, and that has brought back a numerous amount of blessings in your life. You're a
Yes.
leader in your community, in that small community that you live in here in Southwest Florida.
Yes, I've been going to church Sunday and Wednesday. I play the bass on Wednesday at the church. I go to meetings every day. It's just a different way of life, and I am so proud of it because it's not my will, it's thy will be done.
Now, you have a guitar in your hand. What are you going to do for us?
Well, I'm going to do a song that I wrote, Changing Every Day.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I can feel my heart is changing. It's changing every day. It's changing with the rainbow, and it melts my clouds away. I can feel and touch today. I can feel and it's okay. I can feel my heart is changing. It's changing every day. I can feel my body changing. It's changing every day. It's changing with the sunrise, and it's here to stay. I can feel and touch today. I can feel and it's okay. I can feel my body changing. It's changing every day. I can feel my body changing. It's changing every day. It's changing with the sunset, and believe it's here to stay. I can feel and touch today. I can feel and it's okay. I can feel my body changing. It's changing every day.
All right. Well, everybody, there you have it. Sharon with a mini testimony and a great song that she wrote herself. Next week, we have Couples in Recovery starting. Featuring our own Joy and her husband and two other couples that have been in recovery. And our musical guest next week will be Danny Beisel, who fronts a band called the American Vinyl All-Stars, which consists of members of the band Steely Dan, the Doobie Brothers, the band Boston, James Brown's JB's, and Bob Marley's Wailers. And that's his name is Danny Beisel, and he'll be here next week as our live guest, our musical guest.
Musical guest.
Yeah, musical guest. We'd encourage you to like us on the Facebook and invite your friends to come and be part of this. As you can see, this was a show that was just amazing.
It was great, yeah.
It was just amazing. You can see how people's lives are touched and changed through no righteous deed of their own, where they let this power take over and it changes us. It changes us, as Sharon would say.
Every day.
It changes us every day.
One day at a time.
You can hear us on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, podcastcafelive.com. A special thank you to Studio 7 Cafe and Coffee Company here in Cape Coral, Florida. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and good night.